to you someday. And for some of you, it might apply right now. All right, so next slide. I don't have an outline, so I'm going to go by the slides. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. All right, let me just put it this way. Every single day of my professional life for the last 26 years, I have been a nursing home abuse attorney. There is no other kind of law that I've really done besides that. I've done it for every day of my career for 26 years. I have 3 prongs to my professional career, which is also my ministry, and they are to advocate, to litigate, and to educate. I advocate because I speak in front of legislatures, the Commonwealth of Virginia multiple times, including when COVID happened, about how to protect our elderly in nursing homes. I've spoken to Congress, senators. I speak on the topics of staffing, ownership transparency in the industry to improve the quality of care for residents in nursing homes. That's my advocacy role. My education role is what I'm doing right now and what I do in that 8-hour seminar. I teach family members how to protect their loved ones in a nursing home. And today I'm going to give you basically an outline of how I do that. And of course the last one, which is what I do with Williams Deloach in their nursing home litigation department, is I sue nursing homes, and I have done this for the last quarter century, to enforce the rights that nursing home residents have and to hold nursing homes accountable when they abuse and or neglect residents in nursing homes. So that's why you should listen to me. So this is interesting. My goal is to teach you how to become an empowered advocate. There's going to be principles that I'm going to teach you in the next 25 minutes, and each one of these principles builds on themselves. And so I might as well get to the first one. Because it sounds like a, go back one, just go back one. It sounds like a kind of hopeful or useful thing to be an empowered advocate, and I suppose it is. But there's a darkness to it that I want to share with you, and it's the first principle that I want you to understand. The first principle is that nursing homes are areas of limited resources. And the truth is, there are not enough resources in the nursing home to meet the needs of every resident, ever. Every single day, staff members have to make decisions about which resident is going to get the care, and today, which resident won't. And so advocacy in that context is sad. Because what I teach, if I'm being honest about it, I teach you how to get care for your loved ones over someone else. And I hate to tell you that. As a nursing home abuse attorney for 26 years, as someone who advocates and educates and litigates, I wish it wasn't that way. But here's the truth. The thing that will determine whether or not your loved one gets the care has very little to do with the staff, it has very little to do with the resident. It's got everything to do with the family. And so we're going to talk about the fundamentals of advocacy. I'm going to talk to you really briefly, really quickly about why that limited resource happens. There are, in my experience of 26 years, 2 types of nursing home owners. This is going to sound very cynical, but I can tell you, this is 26 years of suing nursing homes every single day of my professional life. There's 2 kinds of nursing home owners. One is the evil owner. The evil owner knows that the staffing that he needs in his facility is here to meet the needs of all the residents. And so he consciously and on purpose chooses to put his staffing level here, knowing that a certain number of residents are going to get hurt, maybe even killed as a result. But he makes that trade for his own profit. That's the evil owner. There's less of them, but they do exist. And my advocacy techniques will work on them too, because they're still going to give care to some of the people. And if you want them to be you, you'll do these things that I'm teaching you. But that's why some people don't get care, because of the evil owner. Now let's talk about the good owner. The good owner really wants to staff the facility to meet the needs of their residents. They just don't want to go 1 millimeter above it. Because if they go 1 millimeter above it, someone's standing around for a couple of minutes, not doing anything, that immediately begins to cut into their profit margins. They're business owners. At the end of the day, they're business owners. And what they want is to maintain a profit. And what good business owners, good nursing homes want is to maintain peak efficiency, staff right to the level where nobody gets hurt, and make the maximum profit they can make. I don't begrudge that. Ever have a bad day though? Business owners have bad days too. And when they try to get that close to that line, accidentally, they dip below. And when that happens, someone doesn't get care. And if it extends too long, that care will cause serious harm or injury. And I say it will cause serious harm or injury because here's why. Principle number 2. Nobody goes into a nursing home because they want to. Everyone goes into a nursing home because they have to. And every single resident in the history of nursing homes, including your loved one if they go in, is going in there for one reason and one reason only. There's something that they can't do for themselves that if left undone will cause them serious harm or eventually death. If they can't feed themselves, they need to be fed. And if they're not fed, it will result in serious injury or harm. They might need to toilet themselves. They may need to change their diaper. But if they can't do it themselves and they rely upon someone else to do it, and it is not done, eventually serious harm or death will occur. Bed sores, falls, urinary tract infections. I've seen every conceivable bad thing that can happen in a nursing home, and it always happens typically because there was something that they couldn't do, it did not get done, and it led to the serious harm or death, right? All right, next. So, in a world of limited resources, what is advocacy then? Advocacy is persuasion. It's actually what we do as trial lawyers. I study persuasion science as a trial lawyer. I try to convince juries to do things that I want them to do. Persuasion science, the pioneer of persuasion science is Robert Cialdini. Some of you may have seen his books like Influence, outstanding book on persuasion. If you're in sales, if you're trying to market, if you're not reading Robert Cialdini, I tell you, go out, don't pass go, hit the bookstore, download his books. Influence is the first one I would read. His principles are fantastic. But that's what this is. This is persuasion. And again, what are we persuading? We're persuading the ownership and management and the staff to do what? To pay attention to our resident at the expense of another. Again, I hate to say it, that's the truth. So how do we get the attention of those people? Let me tell you how we don't do it, okay? Because this is how everyone does it. They start yelling, what if it was your mom? It's not their mom. It's not their mom. If you read their website and they say they're going to treat your mother like their own, and you believe it, shame on you. Shame on you then. It's not their mother. I eat sandwiches at lunch looking at pictures of bed sores that would make most of you sick. And it doesn't even faze me. My wife will come down the stairs, what are you doing? Because I work at home now. What are you doing? Oh, God, get that off the screen. I can have visitors come in, they see my screen. Oh my God, I don't even notice. It's my job. It's my job. These staff members, they hear screams, bells, call bells going off, crying, whining, yelling, Alzheimer's patients running around naked, all sorts of stuff. They see all the inside joke. They see stuff all the time, and it doesn't shake them because it's their job. This is a job for them. If you want to motivate a business owner, you have to think like them. You telling them that it's moral to take care of your mother, or you promise to take care of my mother, is not going to move the needle. The first rule of advocacy is the first rule of persuasion. Think like the person you're trying to persuade. You don't persuade people by what you think is important. You persuade people by what they think is important. So let's talk about that. What does the ownership think is important? What is the ownership of your business? What's important to you as a business owner? Your profits, your business functioning correctly, making money. That is, again, sorry. That doesn't mean they don't care about their residents. It doesn't mean they're not trying to do well. But they do care about their business. And so if you're advocating to a business owner, a nursing home owner, and you want their attention, running around going, it's not right that you leave my mother in her diaper. That is not going to move the business owner. You're going to hear from my lawyer, Mike. The state's coming this afternoon to inspect your facility, and everyone's going to have to stop working for the day, and no new admissions are going to come for the next week because I called the state about what you did to my mom. That might get their attention. No new admissions? Look at that. If you're advocating, you have to advocate to who you're talking to. So let's talk about the staff. What is it to the staff? It's a job. It's a job. You ever have a bad day at your job? You ever scroll all day instead of working? You ever come in? You ever had a hangover at work?
I've never done that.
You ever gone to work and thought about a fight you had with your spouse and just the whole day you walk through the motions, not doing your job right? That happens in nursing homes too. It's a job. So let's talk about what matters to the people whose job it is to care for people, right? Because again, what if it was your mother? Is not going to move the needle. They hear that all the time. So what is it that they want to know? Let's go to the next. Okay, talk about nursing homes business, staff it's a job. Let's talk about the job. When you're working at a nursing home, not making really good money, what is it you really worry about as far as the job goes, right? Why are you at a job where you can't really, you're not making a lot of money and it's a crappy job? It's a terrible job. Working in a nursing home is like a terrible job. And I'd love to tell you it's because they all just love the people so much. No, it's because they need the job. It's because they don't have a lot of other options for jobs. If you look at the resume of the average certified nurse assistant in a nursing home, KFC, Taco Bell, Loving Arms Nursing Home. That's the reality of a certified nursing. High school education or worse, and that's the job they can get. And so what do they care about? Keeping the job. They care about getting a raise. They care about not being harassed at work. They care about their boss not being up their ass. They care about the same thing we all care about when we had a job. Right? Some of you are business owners and stuff like that, but remember when you had a job? You didn't want to get brought into the boss's office, you didn't want to get disciplined, you didn't want to get suspended, you didn't want to get fired. So when you say, what's your name and who's your supervisor to somebody, what do they think about?
Uh-oh.
Yeah. What, they don't wear name tags. If they do, it's a first name. Why is that? That's on purpose. They all wear scrubs. You can't tell who the housekeeper is and who the charge nurse is in a nursing home because they all are wearing scrubs. And they're typically wearing either the same color scrubs or they have different color scrubs, but they don't tell you what that means. And so it's your job to figure out what does this person do and who is this person's boss. Because once you know that, there's a reason why they don't want you to know that. So once you know that, you are immediately different than everybody else. You now know something that matters to them. While everyone else is walking around going, let's let the professionals handle it, you're there going, so you're a certified nurse aide and your charge nurse is her? You ask that question, you're gonna be nasty about it. In a minute I'm gonna give you my number one rule, which is gonna be probably surprising to you. But you're gonna be nasty about it. I want to know who's taking care of my mother. What's your name? It's not nasty. But you will go, why is she asking me my name? Because no one else is asking me my name. No one else is asking who I am. And how about the follow-up going, so who do you report to? It's going to make them back up. All right? So when we're advocating, we're thinking about who we're talking to. We know who we're talking to. And we know what they care about. Not what we care about, not what their website said they were going to do, what they care about. Next slide. All right. First principle. That's good.
I didn't do that. Oh, it's touchscreen.
Oh, I did it. Okay, I did it. Principle number one. I don't even need you that. I can just go like that. All right, so principle number
You
one
don't need me.
is, I do need you.
But it's going the
I
wrong
do
way.
need you.
You just gotta swipe it.
Principle number one is we are supportive of the facility and its employees until they give us a reason not to be. So let me put it this way. I know I'm going to really age myself here. Some of you, though, I think are going to remember this movie. Anyone remember the movie Roadhouse? Mm-hmm. Okay, it's the late Patrick Swayze is a bouncer. at a terrible bar called the Double Deuce. And every night at the Double Deuce, blood's on the floor. I mean, it's just like, it's a terrible place. And they bring in this guy, Dalton, who's played by Patrick Swayze, to come in, and he's gonna clean this bar out. And the guy's like this tall, so everyone's looking at him going, how is this guy gonna clean out the thing? But he's legendary. He's cleaned out all sorts of bars, and now he's gonna clean out this place that every single night a bouncer's, losing a finger. And there's this scene where he comes in and they all sit around, the bouncers, nursing their wounds from the night. And now they're gonna listen to this guy who's gonna clean it all up. And Dalton stands in front of them, and they're all expecting him to say something about a martial art technique or the place you gotta hit the guy to make him go down. And what he says is, be nice. He tells them to be nice as their first rule. Be nice until it's time not to be nice. And that's the exact rule I have for you as an advocate. There's two great techniques that Cialdini, the persuasion expert, has in his book on influence that apply directly to advocacy. Reciprocity and liking. Reciprocity is a great study. I don't remember where it's from. I want to say Stanford, but I could be wrong. They went into a car dealership and they measured the number of cars they had been selling on average every month. And then they went in and they changed one thing. Every single customer who came in, a prospective customer that came in, the car dealership would give them a can of Coke on the desk and open it for them as they sat down and heard the pitch about the car. That was the only change they made. They didn't ask them, would you like a Coke? They just gave them a Coke and opened it. 22% increase in sales of cars from giving a can of Coke to these people. Because the human brain that has been evolving through social pacts has learned that we like to do things for people who do things for us. That's how we survived for years and years and years. It doesn't work if you just offer the Coke. You gotta force it on them. Once they get it, they feel indebted to you on a subconscious, almost primal level. And they want to return the favor. And they want to return it as fast as they can, especially if they think they might not have enough time. And they never think this consciously. It's all subconscious. It's fascinating. So how do we use the law of reciprocity in our advocacy? Again, what is our goal? To stand out from everybody else. A simple box of donuts can do that. A simple $5 Starbucks gift card can do that. Just walking in and saying, thank you so much for taking care of my mom. Really appreciate it. Because they don't get that shit. They get people screaming at them, what if it was your mom? That's what they get. Now you're the one who, out of the blue, does a random act of kindness that does not have to be expensive at all. And now, when you're gone, and she's wet, and the other room is wet, and only time at the end of the shift to change one of them, they change yours. You follow me?
Yep.
Liking, real simple. We like to help people who we like. Now I'm going to really unpack this for you. Who do we like? You guys have been living on this planet a long time. You don't know who we like? I'll tell you who we like. We like people who like us. First things first, we like people who like us. If someone likes us, I like them. Pretty standard. We like people who are like us. We like people who have things that are just like us. When someone reminds us of ourselves, we like them. Because you know who we like more than anybody?
Ourselves.
Ourselves, right? So, how do we do this? How do we create liking? Oh, you went to Nandua High School? So did I. What year did you graduate? What are you interested in? You used to do ballet? You know, Mom used to do ballet. Creating connection between your residents' past and your staff's present or future is wonderful. She's studying nursing. Mom used to be a nurse. Oh, you're into civil rights? My mother marched on Selma. Connection. That's likeness. That's how we move people to do what we want. I'm already running out of time, so I'm going to move quickly. All right, we escalate slowly. I lost a sweater does not mean I got to call the Attorney General. Right? They give mom the roommate's medicine, probably need to go to the medical director. We escalate in proportion to what we're dealing with. We escalate slowly. We move in proportion to what was done, and if something continuously happens. At first I bring it up to the aide. Happens again, I bring it up to the charge nurse. Happens again, I bring it up to the DON. I don't just run to the DON and tattle every time there's a problem. Any of you ever hear the story of the little boy who cried wolf? Mm-hmm. He just keeps yelling wolf every time, so he gets attention, they all come running up. No wolf, no wolf, no wolf. On the fourth time he says, wolf, and there's really a wolf, and nobody comes. If you scream and bitch about everything, you might as well scream and bitch about nothing, because eventually you're going to get tuned out. Be selective. All right, next. All right. They don't want you to know. They don't offer you, and I've offered, okay? I mean, I sue them, so I know they don't like me, but they don't offer a course to you on how to advocate. They don't offer you a course on the hierarchy. This is what a CNA is. This is what a charge nurse is. This is what a unit manager is. This is what the assistant director of nursing does. This is what the director of nursing does. This is what the administrator does. This is what the medical director does. You don't get that when you go into a nursing home. You don't get, this is how the nursing process works. We assess your resident, we plan, we implement the plan, and then we evaluate its effectiveness. And we do it all in documents called care plans and treatment administration records where we track what we're doing. And if it doesn't work, we have to come back and start over. They don't tell you any of that. I have to teach that in my class. They walk in, have you sign away the Social Security check, sign an arbitration agreement, send you down to the room, and hope that you get out of the way until that person dies. They don't want you asking questions. They don't want you in their chart. They don't want you to know who their supervisor is. They don't want you to know who they are because it's their job and you're now in their way. But you, as an empowered caregiver, know about the facility and its inspection history, the nursing process, your resident. You know, there's this idea of an interdisciplinary care plan conference, interdisciplinary team. And so everyone on the team should be an expert. So there's an expert on nursing. It's a nurse. There's an expert on the custodial care. That's a certified nurse aide. There's an expert on the nutrition. That's the dietary people. There's an expert on the medicine, the attending physician or the medical director. There's an expert on therapy, the physical therapist, occupational therapist, and the speech therapist. When they get into a care plan conference, all those people are involved. And the law says you are entitled to be involved as well as a family member or representative of the resident. And that the resident, if capable, is to be involved. Because who are you? What are you the expert on in that group?
My mother.
You're the expert on the resident. That's real important. That's real important for this resident. The expert on the resident might be the most important member of the team. If you think about it, what time do they get up? What do they like? What don't they like? What do they eat? What don't they eat? What is the significant traumas in their life? When they're upset, what do they do? What soothes them? What entertains them? You know your rights. You know your resident's medical history. You know what's going on. That alone, and it's effort, I get it. That alone will have you standing out. I can't tell you how many people walk into these places, turn mom over, and then flip out when they find out that mom's got a stage 4 bed sore tunneling to her bones and she's infected and she's going to die in the next 48 hours. Because they never checked. They never asked. They weren't involved. They left it to the professionals. That is what most people do. You are instantly powerful if you're just not doing that. Okay, next. All right, we'll go quickly with this. How to visit effectively. So I want you to imagine, because we kind of set it up with these principles, right? 2 residents. They are identical in every single way. A nurse is standing here between 2 rooms. One here, one here. They are identical in every single way. They both need to be turned and repositioned. They both need hygiene. They both need to have their diaper changed. They both need to be cleaned up, and they need to be put to bed tonight. That's what needs to happen. And they cannot do them both. One of them has a mom who can show up at any time. I've seen her come at 2 o'clock in the morning just to give mom a kiss on the forehead, look at all of us, and go home. I saw her come in last Sunday. She brought a box of donuts in for us. She's here. She could come at any day of the week. She's not only here at lunch. She's here all the time, any different time. She rotates. I've seen her at dinner, I've seen her at breakfast, I've seen her at lunch, I've seen her at therapy time, I've seen her on a Saturday, I've seen her on a Sunday. Doesn't mean she's here all the time, by the way. She's just never here at the same time every day. There's no predictability to her. She might walk in the door, and if I don't do her mom right now, she might catch me tonight. The other one, every day at noon. She might visit 4 times as much, but she ain't ever coming in at 8 o'clock at night, which is what time it is right now. Okay? One of them comes in and is immediately smelling. What is that smell? Is it bleach? Is it feces? Is it urine? What is the smell in here? She comes in, and when she goes in, she's got food there. She takes a piece out and she touches it to see how hot it is. She pulls her mom's sheet back. She looks at her skin. Once a month, she rolls her over and checks her out on her bottom and her back to see how her skin's looking. She checks her mom. She's gonna come in and she's gonna ask me questions, because she always asks questions. How'd mom eat tonight? What's going on with mom's urinary tract infection? Did the doctor call back? Hey, are we gonna have that care plan conference next week? This lady's always got questions. And not only does she always have questions, she's always writing it down. This lady knows my name, and she's got it in a little green notebook that she's carrying around all the time. She's constantly walking in here with that damn notebook, asking questions and writing it down. The other one that shows up at noon doesn't ask me questions, doesn't write it down, doesn't know my name. This is really not complicated stuff. Which one's getting the care that night? This is what I'm saying. What will determine the difference between who gets the care? It's not the resident, it's not their medical conditions, it's you. It's you. And so these things can actually change the outcome for your loved one. Okay, so we go to the next one as I wrap it up. Top 8 things, I'm gonna run through them real quick, okay? I just told you the first one. I'm convinced it's not dementia patients get better care, it's not diabetics get better care, it's not rehab patients get better care. It's the one who's got the knowledgeable advocate who might show up and bust some stones and be knowledgeable about it. And by the way, I'm not talking about it. I want to be very clear again about the rule about being nice. I'm not talking about the lunatic who runs around screaming about everything. I want to be very clear about that. That person actually does not get as much care as you might imagine. If everything's a problem, then nothing is. The person who's selective and the person who understands what's going on, who asks questions and knows names, who can also reward with a gift card or donuts or catch someone doing something right once in a while, has that perfect mixture of likability and respect, which is what you want. You don't want to be a crazy lunatic who's just constantly catching them doing something wrong. That's just a pain in the ass. That's all that is. You know, those are also the ones I find get the retribution. The little subtle passive-aggressive nastiness. So you don't want to do that, right? When it comes to mood, drugs are a last resort. Man, we're really quick. In this world of nursing homes, we're really quick to throw a pill at it. By the way, we've become very quick to do that for all of us and to our children and everyone else. You know, before we got really good at the pharmaceutical part of this, sunshine, exercise, a touch, reading your favorite book, listening to the Bible on tape. You know, there's a million things you can do to elevate somebody's mood. A good meal, saying I love you, a hug, a joke, a funny program. You know, like I said, your feet touching the dirt outside, you know, walking outside, get the wind on your face. It wasn't always a drug. We got this idea that once they go in the nursing home, which is hopeless as it is, it's already dark and dreary and miserable in there, that we should just drug it to make them feel better. They're depressed. Well, no shit. Would you be depressed if I put you in a nursing home? Well, what do we do about that? You know, if he loves baseball, damn it, get a baseball game. Get a radio that he can listen to the baseball game. You know, get him something. Get him baseball cards. Find a way to lift that mood. Don't just jump to drugs. Skin always tells a story. Gotta check skin. Got it. It always tells a story. 26 years I've been doing this. I can tell you how that resident's doing by their skin. If you pull up their skin like this, and you let go, and it stays there, it's called tenting. They're massively dehydrated. Skin tears. bruises. And where are they? If they're on the wrists, better find out how they're getting your loved one out of bed. If they're under her arms, better find out how they're getting your loved one out of bed. Big gaping bed sores on sacrums, urinary tract infections, inflamed skin, red skin, itchy skin, rashes, scabies. I've seen every conceivable skin problem, and every one of them is indicative of a bigger problem. You will see it in the skin most of the times before you see it anywhere else. Hygiene matters most in more things too. I mean, most people are so consumed with the medicine, and they're not thinking about how long have they been in that diaper. Like these urinary tract infections, oh, well, the problem is you gave Levaquin, you should have given Cipro. You know, oh, it was a resistant, it was this, it was that, it was this. And you're fighting over the antibiotic, you're fighting over the treatment. And no one stops to say, why is she suddenly getting a bunch of urinary tract infections? She used to not get them when she was home. Well, it's because they put her in a diaper and she sits in it all day and it's wet and full of crap. And that's leaking into her urethra and into her urinary tract, filling it with bacteria and causing urinary tract infections. That's why. I have an idea. Let's change her diaper more often. We won't have to worry about whether it's Levaquin or Cipro. If we just change her more, it's hygiene. I mean, she never in her life had thrush, which is a black, furry fungus on her tongue. But she's had it 3 times this year. Why is that? Because they're not brushing her teeth. Because they're not taking care of her hygiene. Because they don't have time to do everything. And they're leaving her there and letting the bacteria build up. When we all take it for granted because we brush our teeth every day. Try not brushing your teeth for 3 weeks and watch what happens to your tongue. All right. Meds are important. Nutrition and hydration are essential. Again, we're so quick to go to the meds. What are they eating? What are they not eating? What are they drinking? When you come to visit, look at the food. Are they eating it? Would you eat it? It's a great question, right? Bring them things they can eat. Bring them something that they want. You don't have to, just because you're paying or the government's paying or whatever for the food that they give, doesn't mean you have to give it to them. You can bring them there, you can cook them something and bring it in. Their nutrition matters. Every time you come in, offer them water. If they guzzle the water you're giving them, that's a real big problem. If your kid walked in, I'm so thirsty, I've been at school all day and I haven't had any water at all, we'd be calling the school ready to sue. I'm amazed at the things we allow to happen in a nursing home that if it happened in a daycare center, it'd be on the news. We've already talked about this. Those who actively participate and ask questions have safer residents. We've talked about it all day. That's the point of the speech. You understand how that works. Right? We talked about the 2 people. Document everything, same thing. If they see you walking around with a notebook, man, they're going to listen to you. The last one is the most important one I want to talk about before I close. Use it or lose it. Can't tell you how often. They come into the nursing home and they can walk with a walker. And the first thing that facility does is wrap it up and put it in a closet and give her a wheelchair. It's the first thing they do. And they'll tell you, we think she's a fall risk. And she probably is, by the way. But the answer is not to permanently remove her ability to walk, which is exactly what you just did when you took away her walker. I used to be able to dunk a basketball. There's no way in the world I can do that now. And that's largely because I stopped dunking basketballs years and years and years ago. We're naturally going to lose our ability to do things. But we can keep them longer and longer the more we do it, even if it's hard. It's okay if it's hard for your mom to walk. I can't tell you how often they take somebody who needs to be toileted. Means every couple hours they need to come in, get her out of bed, put her in the chair, bring her to the bathroom, put her on the toilet, see if she goes, put her back in the wheelchair, drive her back to the bed, get her up out of the wheelchair, put her back in the bed. Or we can put a diaper on her, and when we get around to changing the diaper, we'll change the diaper. What do you think happens to an 85-year-old woman, man, who's put into a diaper and told, go to the bathroom in your diaper? How long before they stop going to the bathroom in the toilet at all? They make you incontinent. They make you unable to ambulate. This is happening to you if they take those things away. So your job, why is he in his pajamas at 1 o'clock in the afternoon laying in bed? Dad gets up at 4:30 every morning. He's a Marine. Well, he didn't want to get up out of bed. Well, I'll be here tomorrow morning at 4:30 to see if he wants to get out of bed. Because leaving him in bed till 1 o'clock in the afternoon, you're going to have a very difficult time going back to he likes to get up and go get his coffee in the morning and read his newspaper. Use it or lose it. It's like anything else. All right, I think I'm done. Just basically, advocacy is love. That is ultimately what it's about. It is difficult. It is confrontational. It is exhausting. Most people who do this are in the sandwich generation. So they've got a husband or a wife, they've got kids, and they've got mom in the nursing home. It's never just, hey, I got nothing to do but check on mom all day. I got a lot of crap going on, and my poor mother's being neglected at this place if I'm not watching their ass constantly and asking questions and filling out notebooks. It's a painful job. I have never, ever, 26 years of doing this, never met anyone who regretted advocating for their loved one. Never, no one ever came back to me and said, I wrote all that stuff down in the book, I asked all the questions, I was involved every single day, and I just wasted my time. Never. Even when things went bad. I have had lots of people come to me and tell me how much they regret that they did not do this stuff when they lost their mom or their dad to something that they could have spotted. I've seen people live with it for the rest of their lives. This is what it takes to be a good advocate. If I had 8 more hours, I'd really train you up, but that's it. Anyone have any questions?
Yes.
Yeah.
You record this.